Guys, let's talk this morning about Qigong, more specifically Qi sensations. So is there a natural, do people have different natural sensitivities to Qi? What sort of things block Qi sensing? And especially for beginners, a typical question is, if I'm practicing Qigong and I don't feel anything, is it still working? Is it still there? Etc. So it's worth fleshing these bits out. I used to be a sound engineer, so I like using an analogy of sound frequencies. So on paper, humans, if they've got their health and their hearing, and they're young enough, should hear between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. Well, we know there's other sound frequencies out there. They don't come into our senses. We don't pick them up. We know dogs and whales can hear all the way up to, say, 100,000 hertz. So just because we can't hear them doesn't mean they're not there. Same actually with human hearing. As we get older, we lose our hearing. Our hearing depreciates. So instead of hearing up to 20,000 hertz, if we're in our 70s, for example, we might only be able to hear up to 16,000. That doesn't mean those 20,000 hertz aren't there. It's the same thing with the heartbeat. So, and I do this in workshops. Some people have really good natural, what's called interoception, the ability to be aware of the inside workings of the body. And this is something that is a skill that is practiced and developed through Qigong and meditation and Eastern arts like internal alchemy, etc. So that, because I've been practicing for years, I didn't used to have it, but I've cultivated that ability that I can easily be anywhere noisy. I could be in a pub with football playing and people shouting, or I could be in a club with loud music, and I can just sense my heartbeat. Anytime, just dial in. Now, I call it like a sixth sense because I'm not using my hand, I'm not touching it, I'm not hearing it, I'm not tasting it, I'm not smelling it. I can just dial in to the workings of the body, known as interoception. And some people can't at all. When they start off with, and we do it in workshops, they have no sort of internal awareness. And we're often pretty poor at this in the West. We've never had a cultural practice of, like the East does, of going inside and putting our attention on us and internally. We're all externally focused, and it's a product also of, competition, hierarchy, acquiring material things, outlook to be external. And in the East, they have like an inside-out approach where you look after the house internally first, and you nurture that, and that has an outward-facing expression. If inside's good, then outside's typically good as well. So that's something that we want to develop. So with the heartbeat, if you're watching this and you're slightly skeptical about Qi, and that's fair game, especially if you can't feel it when you've been practicing it yet. But with the heartbeat, we know we've got one. So, and it's emitting an electromagnetic field. Some of us off the bat or with a bit of practice can dial into it, and others can't. Now, if you can't, we just go through some sort of practices to make sure you can pick it up. You put your hand on your heart, see if you can pick up a pulse at any of the points. Failing that, you then do some exercise, jump up and down, do some jumping jacks. Put your hand on your heart, see if you can pick it up, and then just keep your awareness on it. And as it sort of drifts off and quietens down a bit, see how far you can linger with it until you just develop the ability to dial into it. And it's just, a lot of the time, it's just having this awareness on it, the hallmarks of meditation. So that's what Qigong actually translates as. Energy work or energy skill or energy practice. Qi is energy, Gong is practice, skill, work. So it's just like any skill. It's like musical ability, right? Some children are born just with an innate ability to have a good musical ear and to pick up musical instruments pretty quickly. Others a little bit more tone deaf and need a bit more practice. It doesn't mean that, talent versus hard work, that usual scenario. It doesn't mean that, the people that don't have that innate ability can't get to the same level. They just got to put in a bit more hours practice. So let's discuss now then some of the things that can block sensitivity, and this is one of the first things I get clients to do in class, is we've got to get rid of physical tension in the body. And we just don't know how much tension we're carrying. We don't assess our own levels of tension. And often once we've been holding it for a while, we've got a baseline level of what we think relaxed is, even though we're super tense and look like Herman Munster. And you see this, clients come into class and they come in and you can see they're very tight and they're very tense, and you go, okay, we're going to do some relaxation drills, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I'm super relaxed. And you can see that their system's telling them they're relaxed, but that is just for years of sort of having that sort of tense posture. There's that level that seems relaxed to them. Like layers of an onion, there's lots of onion skins or onion layers you can peel, lots of levels to go, in which the nervous system will just relearn, oh, okay, it's safe to be here again. And often we hold this just because life is busy, life is stressful, life is hectic, and we build up these patterns. And it's interesting, once we do some exercise like a shake or an arm swinging designed to release some tension, that someone will go like this and then go like, oh God, oh, that feels so much better. You know, there'll be a small amount of shoulder drop and tension release, and they go, oh my God, I feel amazing. And little do they know there's, you know, as I said, levels to go. There's so much more to, and you know, it's just allowing that nervous system to release. So that is the first thing we want to do. Dump tension. Tension creates resistance. You know, if you grab your hand and squeeze it really tight and then open it and look at it, you'll see it's gone white, and then eventually the whiteness will be replaced by the blood flow coming back in. So a lot of tension in the system restricts blood flow. It restricts qi flow. It restricts a lot of things going on in the body. And so we're just allowing that body to release, let go, and things to flow better. So now the next thing is the mind, tension in the mind. We often view these things as body, mind, and then some people, you know, in the spiritual soul, but forget soul for body, mind, energy. And you think of these, you look through the lens of them as three separate things. And often it's useful to do that. But more often than not, they are all interrelated. So they can be seen as just one entity. What happens in the body happens in the mind. You know, we think body here, mind here, but the mind actually, you know, we can't find a location to it. It's actually probably a field structure because it's taking so much information in from various different angles. It's not one fixed location. And they're so interrelated. What happens to the body happens to the mind and vice versa. If you're tense in the body, there'll be tension and overthinking and overstress in the mind. Vice versa, overthinking, overstress creates tension in the body. So it's bi-directional. So first thing with the mind is that monkey mind, that sort of lots of thinking. We want to bring the mind to the present moment, to the body, to the quietness. So Qigong's often named moving meditation. So these things are all slightly interrelated. And you can see this. So in some of the exercises to relax the body, in Qigong, they're very rhythmical, they're very repetitive. It's like the same, it's like doing one rep just on multiple times, right? Like in the gym. And let's say it's arm swinging or shaking. Because of the simplicity of the exercise, you often see if the client's not paying attention or not being totally aware, that you can see the mind like galloping off because they're relaxing into the exercise. And so we want that mind to have, and excuse me if this is meditation talk and it's a little alien to some viewers, but this open bird's eye view of awareness. We're not thinking, we're not striving for something, we're not expecting anything. It's just an empty observational view of whatever can pop up into our field of awareness. And that emptiness, that relaxedness, creates the least amount of resistance and tension in the body and in the mind. So that is the outlook we want. We want to bring that galloping mind back to the body, to be aware of it, aware of sensations going on the palms or the external part of the body, or bring it into some of the energy centers. Or if you're adept at meditation, just as I said, this open awareness. The next thing we want to do, as I kind of hinted at, is not be searching for something, not want it so badly, because if we want it so badly and we're concentrating, we create tension. So, and also, if we've got this open blanket bird's eye view to see everything, even the peripheries, if we're focused on something, we narrow that bandwidth, and so we exclude a lot of data and awareness. So we don't want to be looking for something. Now there's a slight paradox or contradiction here, because with beginners, sometimes there is some, if they've never felt chi before, there's some generic exercises or things we do to open some energy centers, the laogongs in the palms, where giving someone a slight bit of information on what to feel can be very useful, right? And they're quite generic in that respect. So temperature changes in the palms, tingling in the palms, pins and needles, a slight heaviness, slight magnetic resistance. Those things are quite useful. What isn't very useful is then to give them what potentially the teacher or an advanced practitioner is feeling. Because one, the chi's not a one-trick pony, and something like the 5 elements, fire, earth, metal, water and wood, the chi, when it comes into each of those different gestures, feels completely different. So if the beginner's just looking for one thing, they will miss certain other chi expressions. Also, when someone's been doing it for decades, then the chi, their sensitivity will develop, so will the sensation of chi. So what may begin like something small, subtle, or 2D and static will be potentially, not in all cases, but bigger 3D with a lot more movement. Now, if that is expressed to the beginner and they're looking for this, and therefore they miss this, their own very subtle, very nuanced little seed, kernel, whisper of chi starting to develop like a small ember, and they miss that because they're looking for something else, that is not great. So we want this just no expectation, overall empty awareness, just to notice things that are coming in to our field of presence. And again, I think I've just mentioned it, but another way of looking at it, don't look for fireworks. Again, it's very easy as a newcomer to hear these things about chi and oh my God, and seeing people move these things around and really feeling them quite quickly. So you're looking for fireworks. You're looking in your hands like something of the Emperor in Star Wars, like, oh my God, here it is, right? And as I said, you're going to miss these very subtle sensations that start to come through. Now, let's completely turn that on. This is very important to say that when we're working on things like little energy points and surface stuff, when we're looking for this, there I use the word bioelectricity of the body, these little chi signals, that is not the whole purpose of the practice. And we're not always looking at all for those kind of sensations. If they show up, great. If they don't, they don't. There's a bigger thing going on with Qigong and the body, which is getting that scattered chi that life and hectic days create, where our chi is scattered, to re-embody it into the body, to then let it do its thing by harmonizing and orchestrating lots of different systems of the body, regulating the nervous system, the heart rate, the breath rate, quietening the mind, like bringing online loads of other things in the body which will quieten the mind, quieten the body, have this completely change your state of mind and consciousness. And with that, there often isn't loads of fun sort of bioelectrical sort of chi effects. And so we're not always looking for it. It's like going to the gym and waking up the next day and feeling massive levels of DOMS, delayed muscle soreness, and not being able to walk down the stairs. You don't want to think that that is the hallmark of a good session. So you're always looking for the muscles to be completely obliterated. It's something that sometimes shows up when the intensity's there, and otherwise isn't. You can have just as good a workout session and build muscle and build strength without completely obliterating the body. So that analogy may hopefully sit well in that respect. So that's, oh, and you know, there's different people, as I said with the music analogy, different people with different levels of sensitivity. You know, and I've worked with all of them. There are people that are naturally sensitive to Qi off the bat without any training or practice. There's people that are very sensitive to Qi. There are some that are insensitive and very insensitive. And I've worked with all of them, especially a lot that turn up who are insensitive and very insensitive. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to feel it. As I said, it's just practice and skill. Some people it might take a month, some it might take 3, some it may take 9, but it will come with practice. These things aren't magical. They're just effects of opening up your sensory perception to things that are already going on. So good, that's enough for now. Few things, if you do are interested in Qigong and Qi, or are a beginner and are struggling to feel certain Qi sensations, I will be doing some videos, so like and subscribe to the channel so you'll get first dibs on them. There's also a meditation, spiritual and Qigong platform outside of probably these social channels where you're watching this. I'll put the link in the description. It's free to join. A lot of the stuff on the calendar there. There's obviously some paid courses you can do, but entry's free and there's free content. So if that takes your fancy, then feel free to join on there as well. All right, thanks guys.